Let's face it, editing can suck, especially if you're new to it. It takes too long, there's too many cuts, and half the time you don't know what tools to use. But don't worry, we've been there, and this course has got you covered. Whether you're making YouTube videos, shorts, online courses, or social media content, we're going to walk you through everything from the absolute basics to advanced editing features. Let's jump right in. Check this out. Editing YouTube videos can feel like a huge task when you're just getting started. You record your first video, open Clipchamp, and suddenly you're looking at timelines, transitions, and other things you don't understand. But here's the good news. You only need to learn a few basic things to create quality videos for your YouTube channel. Main things from trim and split to transitions and effects. And by the end of this video, you'll know enough to edit your first YouTube video today, even if you've never edited before. All right, let's jump right in. If you haven't already, open Clipchamp and click Create a New Video. It may take a little while to load, but in the meantime, let's import some media to work with. In the upper left corner, click My Media, and then select Import Media. Browse to the folder containing your files and click Open. Your media is now ready to use on the timeline. For this demonstration, we'll use a few clips from the Artemis launch to explore some of Clipchamp's basic editing tools. Drag one of the video clips onto the timeline. Once it's there, you can trim the clip or move it left or right as needed. Notice that the selected clip is highlighted. Now let's play a portion of the footage to decide whether we want to trim it. There's a little extra footage at the beginning, so we'll trim the front of the clip to get straight to the action. Trimming does exactly what it sounds like. It removes footage from the beginning or end of a clip. To trim, place your cursor on the left or right edge of the clip and drag it toward the center. Now that the clip is trimmed, we have some empty space at the beginning of the project. It's a good habit to clean up gaps as you go, so you don't have to make a lot of adjustments later. Since we currently have only one clip on the timeline, we can simply drag it to the left. You can also move your cursor over the gap at the top of the timeline. When it changes to a trash can icon, click it to remove the gap. Just click the trash symbol and the gap is deleted. Just like that. Okay, this looks like a good place to trim this clip back to. So, you'll notice that I played the clip and then I paused it where I want to trim it back to. There are a couple of ways we can trim the clip back. In this case, I just drug the right edge back to the cursor. Now that we have this clip trimmed up, I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about selecting your correct aspect ratio. This video was recorded at roughly 16:9 with the intent to use it on a long-form YouTube video, and that is what we have selected here. Additionally, you'll notice the video does not come quite to the edge of the canvas. So I'll use the Fit and Fill function at the top by clicking directly on the video on the canvas highlighting it. Click once, it will fit. Click a second time to fill the entire space. We'll bring the cursor back to the front and play that back to check for issues. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now we'll go ahead and drop our second clip onto the timeline. Now that we have our second clip onto the timeline, we'll need to trim it up to the footage that we want to use for this project. Some of the steps we go through when modifying the second clip can be the same, but we're going to switch it up and use the next tool, and that is the split. And if you want to see this all come together, be sure and stay till the end where we show what this project looks like in its final form. Okay, in this clip, there is an interview with the astronauts. So, I'm just trimming back to the initial comms check and setup. To do that, I let the clip play until I'm at the point where I want the clip to start. Then I right-click the clip and split. Then I can delete the rest of the clip to the left. You notice that when I split the clip, I can now move the rest of the clip to the right and create separation if I need room to work. In this case, we are just going to delete the left part of the clip we split. And you can do that by right-clicking and delete. Remove the gap by clicking the trash bin between clips or sliding the clip on the right all the way over to the left to come in contact with the first clip. Now we'll play it back from the beginning to check out how well the two clips mesh. We aren't working on transitions or anything yet, just making sure that the clips go together, or whether or not we need to trim the clip back some more. Okay, that looks good. Now let's say you want to tighten up your footage and remove sections. You can use the split and delete as much as you want to create the flow you desire. We are just using this as an example. At the end, I'll put it all together to give you an idea of how this video could come together. All right, we'll trim out a bit more of this clip to get right to the astronauts talking. So we'll split again and remove the unwanted segment. We'll move that over and then play it to see how the clips come together. Now, let's say we are done with the clip and we want to trim the whole thing back. We simply grab the right edge of the clip and drag it to where you want the clip to end. You can also just let the clip play until you're at the point you want it to end, and do another split and delete the footage on the right. Now, the next tool we go into is the crop function. To crop both video and image clips, simply click on the clip, and when it shows as highlighted, go to the top and click the crop button. From there, go to any edge of the clip and drag it in toward the middle. Do this until you have the size and shape you like. Let's take this clip to start. And let's say I want to isolate one of the astronauts to have him talking, while the rest of the video displays something else. I'll drag all sides in and create a portrait around him. From there, I'll click the check mark above the clip to close out the edit of the image. Then we could do something like layer the image like so, to create an interview feel with replay footage. If you want to increase or decrease the size of an image or video, grab the corner of the video and it will basically zoom in or out, keeping the same aspect ratio. If you want to change the original crop, just select the image, click crop at the top, and then you can modify your crop. Here's another example of what you could do. Then you could do something like add a background or use an effect. To create some simple depth and contrast, I like to use the blur fill. To do that, click on the clip you would like to add the effect to. Then on the right, click Effect. Scroll down and click Blur Fill. Note that when you apply a blur fill, the effect blurs all clips underneath it on the timeline. So be sure to layer your clips and apply the effects in the right order. Here I'm selecting the clip at the bottom of the timeline. Okay, now that we've talked about the basics of trimming, splitting, and cropping clips, let's talk about transitions. A transition isn't there just to look cool. It tells your viewer how to interpret the next moment. And just because Clipchamp gives you 44 transitions doesn't mean they all need to be used. So today we're going to show you how to use transitions, while also demonstrating some of the more common ones. But first, let's take a quick step back and talk about the different types of transitions. We'll start with no transition. This is also known as a hard cut, and it's best for talking head videos, tutorials, and fast-paced content. It keeps things direct and efficient. Fade or blur transitions are ideal for softer pacing. They work well in emotional scenes, intros and outros, or when you want to show the passage of time. Slide and wipe transitions are great for more energetic content. Use them for comparisons, movement between ideas, or when you want to add visual momentum. Zoom, spin, and other dynamic transitions are best suited for high-energy videos like gaming, reels, or highlight edits. These add excitement and intensity when used correctly. So let's get right into it. To get to transitions, navigate to the left menu bar. The 6 from the top will be your transitions. Click on Transitions, and that will bring you into the Transitions menu. The best transition is often the one your audience barely notices. Okay, let's show you how this is done. To prepare, I'm just going to take this clip and we'll split it to make an easy clip to demonstrate with. I'll use a very obvious transition so you can see how it works. All right, I've split this clip here. I'll push that back together so we can add a transition. From there, I'll go over to Transitions, and for this, I'll select the Exchange transition and place it in between my clips. Again, note that the clips must be flush up against one another. Let's play these 2 clips back so you can see the transition. The exchange transition used here is definitely one you use sparingly or as part of a greater structure. Now let's show you how to use a few of these transitions. All right, let's start with probably one of the most common transitions used by creators, and that's the crossfade. It's good for passage of time or location changes. This man used to clean fish tanks for a living. Until one simple idea changed everything. Now here's a cross blur. It's good for a stylish scenery change or hiding mismatch cuts. It's usually not recommended for tutorials. Yeah, changed everything. The next section is wipes. Hard wipe down is clean and punchy. Great for structure, but too many wipes can make your video feel like a PowerPoint. Help the customers. Let's watch that again. Help the customers. You see what I mean? All right, let's move on to one of my favorites, the zoom. Zoom in is one of the most usable energetic transitions. Fast, modern, and great for emphasis. Push up is best for progress, upgrades, or moving to the next level. Push left is great for moving quickly between ideas or sections. A strong choice for tutorials and list videos. We're here to help, so make sure you stay tuned and you're subscribed. Morph Glitch creates a warped, glitchy transition that fits futuristic visuals, fast-paced content, or bold reveals. Day in and day out. Day in and day out, the same routine. And last in the glitches is Pixelate. Pixelate gives a blocky digital look and is great for gaming, retro themes, or playful scene changes. Day in and day out, the same routine. All right, that was our section on transitions. Next, we're going to go over one of the most underrated but highly used functions in Clipchamp, and that is speed control, but you probably recognize it as slow motion or time lapse. Sometimes slowing things down makes the moment feel bigger, and sometimes speeding things up makes hours disappear in seconds. And today, we're going to learn how to use both of these techniques in Clipchamp. Now, first let's take a look at this clip from Sherlock Holmes. In this clip, the director takes you from real time to slow motion as Sherlock takes you through the steps he uses to take down his opponent. This not only draws you into his mind, but creates a suspense and tension as you impatiently wait to see what comes next. Now, let me show you how this is done, and how you could do it too. First, I'll grab an action clip and drag it onto the timeline. I'll use this long jump clip here. I'll play it at normal speed so you can see what it looks like to start. As you can see, not very dramatic. It doesn't give time to create any kind of tension or anticipation. Now let's take this clip, and right before the athlete jumps, we'll slow it down. This creates suspense and anticipation, the exact emotions that keep viewers engaged and make the moment feel more intense. As you can see, you first play the clip at normal speed to the point where you want to slow it down. Once you get to that point, split the clip into 2 clips. And real quick, if you haven't watched our video on the basics like splits and cuts, be sure to go back and watch those so you understand how to properly combine these tools. Now that we've split the clip, make sure that the new clip has been highlighted by clicking that segment. Then go over to the right toolbar and click on Speed. Here you will see a slider that will change the speed of your clip. Moving the slider to the right increases the speed. Moving it to the left slows it down. Here, we want to slow it down, so we'll slide it to the left. All right, let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. Should we slow it down a bit more? Sometimes it takes a few adjustments to get the speed right. Let's look again. I think that'll work. Now, let's transition it back to normal speed. To do that, we'll split the clip again at the point we want the clip to resume normal speed. We'll click on the clip and then go over to the right toolbar and click Speed again. From there, we'll adjust the slider back to the 1 mark. Now we'll play that through both of the speed changes. Looking at it again, I think we should slow it down some more. So let's bring it down to 0.3. All right, let's try that again and see how it looks. Now that's much better. It really creates the type of anticipation we're looking for. And then it finishes it up with a normal speed clip at the end. Here's what it looks like in normal playback. Notice I'm not using transitions here because these sections are from the same clip. If you were moving between separate clips, then a transition would make more sense. Pretty cool, right? All right, let's say we now want to speed up a clip for a situation like a time-lapse. That is exactly what Perkins Builder Brothers does in this video here. Amazing cliffside home, built in 10-minute time-lapse. Time-lapse works in a similar way by building anticipation. But instead of waiting days to see the finished result, viewers can watch the entire process unfold in just minutes. That's what makes time-lapse videos so satisfying to watch. Now here's an example. Speeding footage up really isn't much different. The key is creating variations in speed to keep viewers engaged. A constant 4x or 10x speed can start to feel repetitive. So we'll select the point we want to speed up the clip. So we'll start here. Right now the clip is set for 1x speed, so we'll bring it up to 4x speed. Feel free to make it whatever makes sense for your content. This clip is only 29 seconds, so it doesn't make sense to speed it up anymore. Okay, that's good. Now we'll slow it back down to end the clip. So we'll split again and set it back to the 1x speed. Now we're about to play it back. Now I can't emphasize enough how important it is to play it after you've made your speed changes. When you change speeds, the clips change in size on the timeline. If you're not careful, sometimes gaps will build between your clips, like this one here. So pay close attention to that. Now let's play that to check it out. Okay, here's our speed up. And here's where we bring it back to normal speed. Now, let's look at it in production. Not bad, right? Now let's put it all together. We've used over 9 different Clipchamp tools throughout today's video. But let's show you how everything comes together when used properly. We'll start here with a fun slow motion demonstration. Listen closely to the scenario and see if you can find the person I'm talking about. Let's say we have a story about an investigator tracking a suspect. They are monitoring a crowd and looking for this person. And just as they see the suspect, a bus drives right in front of them.
Alpha 1, are you in position?
Affirmative, Tango 2. No eyes on suspect at this time. Oh, wait, I think I've got eyes on him. Affirmative. Black backpack heading west on Chamberlain. Wait, I lost him. He ran behind the bus. Damn it.
Forget it. We've got to take him. All units, it's a go.
Now here's a stickman clip used to demonstrate transitions. Pay close attention and see if you can find the number of different transitions I used. And don't forget to put in the comments. This man used to clean fish tanks for a living. Until one simple idea changed everything. Every day, Jake went to work at a small mom-and-pop pet store. Day in and day out, the same routine. Feed the fish, clean the cages, help the customers, and repeat. At night, he watched YouTube creators making money doing what they love. He wanted in, but had no clue what to make videos about. Then it hit him. Every day, people asked him the same questions.
What pet is easiest for beginners? How do I clean my fish tank?
That's when he realized he already knew something valuable. So, putting his anxiety aside, he posted his first videos. They were simple, not fancy, not perfect, but helpful. People shared them. And to his surprise, subscribers grew and comments poured in. Before he knew it, YouTube ads, affiliate links, and sponsors earned more than his job. Eventually, Jake left the store and worked for himself, teaching what he already knew. Now what about you? What is something you know that you can help others with? Perhaps it's a skill, a hobby, a job, or just simply experience. With a little drive and a bit of courage, that could be your channel. If you're ready to start your YouTube journey, we're here to help. So make sure you stay tuned and you're subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content. And here's our last demonstration. It's a quick intro for the Artemis launch. Remember, we use things like split, trim, and crop as well as some other things in this video.
On April 1st, 2026, NASA sent 4 explorers into space to do something that hasn't been done since 1972. Apollo 17 was the last mission to land astronauts on the moon. And although the Artemis 2 mission will not put anyone on the lunar surface, sending humans in orbit around our close friend will lay the groundwork for a return to the surface in 2027. The crew, as part of Artemis 2, will practice real mission conditions like deep space communication, crew procedures, and navigation and trajectory control. It's the dress rehearsal for the biggest show in the universe. So make sure you stay tuned as we take you where no man has gone before.
Now that we've covered the basics of editing, let's jump right into some of the advanced editing techniques in Clipchamp. Welcome to Clipchamp Essentials, Part 2 in our Creating with Clipchamp series. In Clipchamp Essentials, we're going to hit on 5 of the more advanced topics that will up your content creation game big time. These aren't 2-minute tutorials, so grab your notebook and get ready to get your money's worth in today's video. Now, let's lay out the 5 topics for today's video. Feel free to jump ahead at any point if there is a topic you're looking for. I'll be sure to list the timestamps in the comments below. And here are the topics we're going to be covering in today's video. Starting with a fun feature that allows you to magically create your setting exactly the way you want it. And that's using background remover and green screen. Then we'll jump over to the tool that allows you to easily create tutorials and demos. Screen recorder. From it, we'll do a quick segue into how to select the proper aspect ratio for your content. Then comes the bread and butter of this segment, that's creating AI voiceovers using Clipchamp's text-to-speech. Then we'll wrap it up with the icing on the cake, how to add auto captions to your videos. Now, if you haven't watched Clipchamp Basics, be sure and go back and watch that to get an understanding of how to do things like trim, split, and crop, or how to use filters and effects. Those skills will lay the proper foundation necessary to produce quality content. But now, without further ado, let's jump into background remover and green screen. Most people think you need a $5,000 studio or a degree in After Effects to look professional. They think the cinematic look is gate-kept by expensive gear. But today I'm going to throw all of that nonsense out the window and show you how to use Clipchamp's background remover and green screen to make your background whatever you want it to be. This is a step-by-step tutorial, so make sure you take detailed notes and post your questions in the comments below. With that said, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with our latest tips and tutorials. All right, let's jump right into it. If you haven't already, open up Clipchamp to get started. Then, go ahead and click on Create a New Video. The first thing we're going to do is work with background remover. And this is where many content creators go wrong. In order to use background remover in Clipchamp, you have to select a file that the AI can manipulate. And as of today, it can only remove backgrounds on images. So we're going to grab an image and drop it onto the timeline. So if you're new to navigating Clipchamp, just go over to Content Library. Click the drop-down next to Visuals and click on Images. Now you can type something in the search above. For those of you who have worked with Clipchamp, you'll recall that you could type something in the search, and then under Visuals, you could select Images or Videos. Now you have to select one or the other before typing in the search, just like this. Now once you have your image placed on the timeline, we're going to let Clipchamp's AI do its magic. So for this, we're going to go over to Effects in the right pane. You'll scroll down until you see Background Removal. And just like that, the background is gone. It's as if the background never existed. Now what we'll do is duplicate this clip and play them one after the other. If you're following along, just right-click the image on the timeline and select Duplicate. That will create a copy of the clip and place it right after the clip you copied. We'll remove the background on the second one, so you can see the difference back to back. All right, let's play that through. If your image does not fill the entire space for your video, you can use the Fit and Fill button, and that will increase the size of the image to take up the available space. Let's do that once more with our image with the background removed. All right, so we've removed the unwanted background. So now what do we do next? Well, this is where you find a background that makes more sense for the type of video you're putting together. Now, this is where you can be creative because you can do all kinds of cool things. You can simply select a single image. You can layer multiple images. You can tweak the transparency to give more depth. You can also adjust the color with filters. And finally, you can add a video clip to give it life. Let's start with a stock background. Now, when you add the images, again, remember that the image you select may not be the appropriate size. So look at it closely when you expand it to fit, just in case it comes in too blurry. That's not too bad, but I think we could do better. Let's try something like this. It's important to get what you want out of the image, so try different things out, and you'll be surprised what you end up with. All right, as you can see, there's a lot more to this. And there are some really cool tricks you can do to add premium looks to your shots. But I want to move on to green screen. So if you're interested in a future video where we go over some of those seldom revealed tricks, let me know, and I'll try and fit it in between our weekly releases. But real quick, here's what it looks like with a video of a waterfall behind her. Let's adjust her size to give a proper perspective and move her back over just to the right of the waterfall. We could probably adjust the lighting and filters to blend her in with the background better. But overall, I think it looks like she could be there. Let me know in the comments below what you think. All right, but let's go ahead and move on to the moneymaker, and that's green screen. What's cool about green screen is you can have the green screen as any part of your image or video, and when the green screen effect is applied, the green turns transparent, allowing what is underneath to show through. There are so many different applications, and I'll show you a few today as you learn how to use it. The first thing you need to do is get an image or video that has green screen in it. There are many in the content library, so just go there and select video or image, and then type something in your search text. I'll put green screen in mind to begin. Let's start with one that pros use all the time, and you probably don't even know it. And that's the computer or TV with the green screen as the display. This allows you to embed a video or image, making the viewer envision someone watching that content. For this, we already have the waterfall video underneath, so once we apply the green screen effect, you'll see the waterfall come through as if it is on a laptop. Good. Now let's do something a little different. How about this? We'll grab this video of an eyeball and drop it onto the track directly underneath the green screen clip. And keep in mind, the more effects you add, the longer it can take. And there we go. Now this is amazing. Do you see the depth created by the moving video against the stationary computer? You're witnessing the power of using green screen technology in your videos. Now let's move on to probably the most used green screen effect, and that is the green screen behind a person. This can be done with a physical green screen, or it can be done through software. For our example, we're just going to pull ours from the content library. Here's another note on the green screen. Sometimes the edge of the green screen clip has other colors, making it difficult to remove the green screen. So you may need to either stretch the image to the edge or crop the edge of the image. Since this person appears to be trying on a jacket, let's put him in a clothing store. How's that? Now we've barely scratched the surface on use cases for green screen. So make sure you test some of these things out and put your questions in the comments below. And if you want a future video going deeper into those use cases, drop that in the comments as well. And if we get enough interest, we'll put something together. Now let's move on to one tool that makes creating demos, tutorials, and many other videos easier than ever. I'm talking about Clipchamp's screen recorder. If you want to create tutorials, walkthroughs, or product demos, screen recording is one of the easiest ways to make content, and Clipchamp makes it incredibly simple. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to record your screen in Clipchamp step by step. All right, let's jump into it. And if you're taking your first steps on creating content, I want to applaud you for doing something most people are simply too afraid to do. But make sure you avoid the most common mistakes new creators make, and we'll talk about them throughout. Without further ado, go ahead and open up Clipchamp if you haven't already. If you need the steps on how to optimally set up your Clipchamp, post in the comments below. Now if you're ready and you have Clipchamp open, go ahead and click on Record and Create. Make sure you have your content ready that you want to record. Maybe you have Google Chrome open and you want to show a website. Many creators provide value to their viewers by simply walking through how to use a website. Or maybe you have an application you want to demonstrate. Just showing the application and the steps you take to solve a problem can be helpful to thousands. Or you could even display your whole screen and go through the entire process. This is extremely helpful when you have content on multiple apps that you're demonstrating together. But do me a favor and don't overthink it. Start off simple. Just select one app you want to record, and we'll walk through that first. Now go ahead and pause the video if you need to get your content together. And give us a like and subscribe so you don't forget to come back. Now that you've got your content, it's time to do something with it. Remember, the first thing you'll do is click Record and Create. You'll see multiple options for recording. Today we're going to use the Screen tool. So go ahead and click Screen. That will open up the screen recording window. Once Clipchamp is ready to record, you'll see this Start Screen Recording button illuminate purple. Go ahead and click it. That will bring up the sharing options. This is the screen that allows you to select what you would like to record. Now, when you first open up this pop-up, it can be a bit intimidating, especially if you're someone that has a lot of things open. So let's go through it real quick. At the top, you'll see two options: Window or Entire Screen. Window allows you to select the specific app you want to record. Now pay attention, because this is what gets a lot of creators. For you to select the app from these options, you must already have it open. Since we are focusing on an app for this first one, go ahead and select the app you would like to use. For this example, I'll select this Google Chrome window and click Share. It will give a quick 3-second countdown for you to get ready, and then it will display the screen it is recording. At this point, you can now mouse over to the screen you selected, click on it, and start giving your demonstration. When you're finished, simply go back over to Clipchamp and click the Stop button. Then if you're satisfied, click Save and Edit. And this is where Clipchamp makes your life so much easier, because it will seamlessly place it in your media for you to add to your timeline. No searching for the file you just captured, no re-downloading. It's right there ready to use. Pretty simple, right? All right, but here's one gotcha I forgot to mention when using the screen recording. So I want to hit that real quick. If the application you're recording also contains audio, you need to make sure and select the Also Share System Audio toggle button, and then click Share. This allows the system audio to be recorded as well. Check this out. This is how creators sample other content and give commentary about a video.
Not all YouTube views are created equal.
Now wait just a minute. You're telling me my 5,000 views are not the same as yours?
All right, so that's how you can select a single application and share it with audio. Let's move on. But suppose you want to display your entire screen and show how you're putting all of that together. There are a few things you should do to prepare. 1. Know exactly what you plan to open. If I'm demonstrating how to open applications from the very beginning, I'll use a checklist that I have on a second screen. This helps guide me, so I don't take a long time while recording. I also like to keep a project folder, and within it, I place shortcuts to the different apps or web pages I'll be using. Now let's capture using the entire screen. We'll open up Clipchamp. Create a new video if you're starting from scratch. I'll rename this one. Then remember, we'll go over to Record and Create. Then we'll select Screen once again. We'll let that load, and when you're ready, hit Start Screen Recording. Now, this is super important, and it gets new creators all the time. They'll open up their screen recording, and they'll have Clipchamp open on the same screen you're recording. This will create a picture inside of a picture, inside of a picture. You get the picture. Once you have your screen recording window open, click Start Screen Recording once again. Remember to click Share System Audio if you have audio that will be used at the same time. Then instead of clicking on Window, as we did earlier, we'll select Entire Screen. If you have multiple screens attached to your PC, or you have a laptop connected to a monitor, you should see multiple screens. Select the one you want to use and click Share. Again, during setup, I place my Clipchamp on the monitor I will not be using for the demonstration. Now, my capture has been started. Now you can open up your applications and start to manipulate them in whatever way you want. Here I'll demonstrate using a prompt from chat to create a video clip in Leonardo AI for my two characters, Ali and Casey. You can see that I'm recording my entire desktop on screen number 2. I opened my applications and started showing how I used a short description to create the type of prompt I wanted chat to create. When that was done, I pasted that prompt into Leonardo AI. And for this one, I used one of the new models, Hailuo 2.3, to animate my characters. When you're done, click Stop Sharing. Then save and edit. Now that you've learned how to create content using Screen Record, let's move on to taking that video, or any other for that matter, and converting it into a format that works for the platform you're publishing to. For that, we turn to Clipchamp's aspect ratio tool. Today we're going to show you how to change your aspect ratio in Clipchamp. And there it is. While you could simply just select a ratio, there are ways that you can optimize your content depending on the type of video you're creating. So let's not waste any time and jump right in. Now, if you haven't already, open up Clipchamp and import your media. When you drag your initial clip onto the timeline, Clipchamp is going to select the aspect ratio it thinks is best suited for your clip. If it happens to be a 9:16, it will format it as YouTube short-form content. If it is closer to 16:9, then it will format it as long-form. For this clip here, its size is similar to long-form, so it formats it as 16:9. Now, since we're here, let's go ahead and look at our options. As you can see, there are quite a few to choose from, so we'll start from the top. If you are creating long-form content on YouTube, then the first one is the one you came for, and that is the wide format, or notably referred to as 16:9. If you're more into creating YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, or TikTok, then you'll want the next one. This is referred to as the vertical format, or 9:16. Now, if you're creating content for traditional Instagram, then you're interested in the third one on the list, and that's square. And yep, it's simply a 1:1 ratio. Okay, those three are the most commonly used formats on today's social media platforms. But if you need something a bit different, Clipchamp has 4 other built-in formats to choose from. And those are Classic 4:3, Social 4:5, Cinema 21:9, and Portrait 2:3. With so many choices to choose from, you can see how easy it is to get confused on which one to use. So rewind this section and rewatch anytime you need to. But now let's get into how to select the different aspect ratios and ways to optimize your content based on your platform. Depending on the type of content, there are many ways that you can optimize its presentation. Now, let's say you like this clip and you would rather use it in a YouTube short. Clipchamp makes it super easy by allowing you to change the aspect ratio in the top center. You'll see the size show up when you click off of the clip. Just click on the down caret and you'll have the option for wide, vertical, or square. Let's change this to vertical to see how that looks as a short. I always like to play the clip and get an idea of how it looks when I play it back. Then I adjust the size of the clip accordingly. To adjust the size, just grab the corners of your clip and drag it away from the image to increase the size. Even though it's zooming in, the majority of the image is still there, and the rotational motion keeps the focus on the center. You can also set it to the square format. This is often used in Instagram posts. So if that's your kind of content, then square is what you need. There are also numerous other formats that can be used. You could try Classic, which is a 4:3. You can use Social, which is a 4:5. 4:5 is a common format for Facebook. The cinema aspect ratio is perfect for those wide screenshots or panoramic views. It has an aspect ratio of 21:9, so a bit wider than your typical YouTube video. And finally, the last one, portrait. This one is similar to YouTube Shorts or Instagram. You'll notice that it is slightly wider than YouTube Shorts, but not as wide as a square or wide. Again, simply drag the corners of the image to expand the size of the content to cover the appropriate space on your canvas. Once you select your aspect ratio, you can update the size of the image or simply expand it to fill the entire space. For this clip, it fills out nicely. If you had the aspect ratio in a vertical format, it may cut out some of the content, but you're able to move the image or clip around to get the important part of the content in view. I'll change it back to the vertical format. Now you can see how the clip I originally set to fit and fill the screen changes to a usable size. You see how I just drug the corners to zoom in a bit on the image? Let's take an example more suited for social. Let's see, how about we find a woman speaking? Now, full transparency here. I've got a subscription to Microsoft 365. Therefore, some of these videos or images may not be available to the free version. You'll have both images and videos, just not as large of a library to choose from. Let's go with this one right here. It gives a good example of an interview setting. Since we originally had the aspect ratio set to 9:16, Clipchamp fit the image to that size canvas. But let's go ahead and convert it to 16:9. Notice that it was still small when I changed the ratio to 16:9. So then I just used the fit and fill function to fix it. All right, I think this one will do just fine. Let's now change the aspect ratio for content to be posted as a YouTube short. Simply change the aspect ratio to vertical 9:16 like so. From there again, you can pull on the corners to zoom in. Always make sure your focal point is as close to center as possible on shorts. This helps to keep your content from being blocked by subtitles. All right, let's try one more. Here is another example where the person is talking directly to the camera. Now, this is your typical short-form content. One person delivering a message. If the clip was shot from a wide or typical 16:9 aspect ratio, you can either fit and fill or stretch the image and center the face. Here, I did exactly that. I fit and filled the screen. And then, to center her face, I moved the clip over to the right. To convert it back to long-form YouTube, just select the wide 16:9 aspect ratio. Then adjust the image to line it back up. You may need to drag the corners or click the fit and fill once again to fill the space. Going back to vertical once again. Let's say that you didn't like how the fit and fill looked with your clip. You can simply drag the corners to zoom in a bit to your liking. And then to fill the rest of the space, use an effect like blur fill to give the rest of canvas cohesive background. We do that by clicking on the image on the canvas, then on the right, go to Effect. From there, scroll down until you see Blur Fill. Simply click on that and voila, an instant background. We'll play that through and make sure the focal point stays in the middle of the image and ensure the background doesn't do anything weird. So today we changed between several major aspect ratios and showed the difference in the others. We showed how to manipulate your image or clip to adjust to any aspect ratio. Now, go ahead and try it out yourself and let me know in the comments if you have questions. If you've made it this far, thank you. And you are exactly the kind of person that is going to go a long way with YouTube. But don't worry, we're not done yet. Now that you've learned about the aspect ratio, let's talk about what's probably the tool that is gaining more and more adoption in the faceless content space. And that's text-to-speech. Check this out. This entire voiceover was generated inside Clipchamp. No mic, no recording, no retakes. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to use Clipchamp's text-to-speech feature step by step, so you can turn any script into a natural-sounding voiceover in minutes.
On that fateful day in 1944.
Pretty cool, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Some of the biggest YouTube channels use text-to-speech, and millions of people watch them every day. And today you're going to learn how. But make sure you're taking notes so you can avoid making those crucial text-to-speech mistakes that hold creators back. And I'll be sure to point out those gotchas along the way. With that said, if your goal is to build a channel like these, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep yourself up to date with the latest content. Now let's show you how to use text-to-speech in Clipchamp. Okay, go ahead and open up Clipchamp if you haven't already. And what we're going to do is go through 3 different examples. So click Create a New Video to get started. Alright, we're going to get right to it. So go over to Record and Create on the left toolbar. From there, go down to Create and Text-to-Speech. That will simultaneously open up 2 things. First, you'll notice the new text-to-speech bar on the audio timeline. That represents the audio that is created from the text-to-speech pane. And then, of course, you have the text-to-speech pane on the right side, where you'll see a variety of options to manipulate, including the text you would like spoken. We'll start things off by selecting the language of the voice we would like to choose. This option will change the accent of the voice based on its origins. Then we'll go down to the voice field. As you can see, there are a lot of voices to choose from. As you scroll through, notice that each voice has a small description to give you an idea of the type of voice you'll hear. You can sample the voice by hitting the play button just underneath the voice.
Choose from a variety of voices to help you create a story worth sharing.
Let's hear another one.
Choose from a variety of voices to help you create a story worth sharing.
While we're here, under the Advanced section, you'll see other options. Depending on the voice, you may have additional options as well. For Adam, we have the options of vocal pitch and pace. You'll also notice the text field as well. That's where we'll type what we want the voice to say. In this case, I'm going to paste in my script for the financial educator so you can see how that's done and what it sounds like. Just click Save on the bottom, and it converts the text to speech. It could take a few seconds depending on the amount you enter in the text box. And that brings us to our first gotcha. Avoid using long run-on sentences at all costs. So you may be asking, why is this important? You see, the problem with text-to-speech is it doesn't naturally recover from long sentences. So the voice ends up sounding flat, rushed, or robotic, which is totally against what you're trying to create. Now I want to get back to the tutorial. But if you'd like an example, I'll be sure and post it at the end along with 4 others. So you won't have to stick around if you don't want to. Okay, so we've added text to the text box and clicked the Save button. So now we are just waiting for Clipchamp to finish converting the text-to-speech. And there we go. Now let's click the preview button and see how that sounds.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom before the age of 50. Most will work their entire lives and still worry about money.
Okay, not bad. But let's hop back to the preview button real quick. The preview button can be used to test the new text without saving. Once you like what you hear, then you can save it. One other note, transitions between tracks can cause the audio to hesitate during playback. If you use the preview button, you'll hear the voice without transitions, giving you what it will actually sound like after exporting. Okay, moving on. Now, if you want to get a real feel for the voice, go ahead and throw a draft image onto the timeline. This allows you to see your voice in action, so you can determine if it's the right voice for your project. It also gives you a sense on the voice pitch, which we'll be covering next.
Most will work their entire lives and still worry about money. But what if you didn't have to?
Okay, that sounds pretty good. But let's see what it sounds like with a different voice pitch. For that, go to Advanced. From there, you'll go to Vocal Pitch and use the drop-down button to select the pitch you'd like to try, at which point you can either preview or save.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom before the age of 50.
Do you see how easy it is? I think we'll set it back to medium. That one seems to sound best for this type of content.
Only a small percentage of people ever...
Let's check and see if that is the default voice.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom.
Yeah, that's it. We'll save it and move on. Next, we'll talk about pace. Now, pace is basically how quickly the voice speaks the text it's been given. It can give the appearance of being energetic, or it can make you drift off to sleep. If you want to speak faster, move the slider to the right. And if you want it to speak slower, slide it to the left.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom before the age of 50. Most will work their entire lives and still worry about money.
That's what it sounds like when we move the slider to the right. Now let's try moving it to the left.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom before the age of 50. Most will work their entire lives and still worry about money. But what if you didn't have to?
That was a bit too slow. Let's speed it up a bit.
Only a small percentage of people ever reach true financial freedom before the age of 50. Most will work their entire lives.
Well, that's all there really is to pace. But here's another tip. If you want to change the pace of the voice, always do it within the text-to-speech pane. Changing the speed in the main area can cause the voice to sound like listening to chipmunks. All right, let's move on. Our next example is going to be our historical narrator. In this voice, we manipulate both the pitch and pace. This produces a high level of anticipation that you want in this type of story. Let me load up a video clip to set the scene. Okay, now we're going to open up our text-to-speech. Remember, that's record and create, and then down to create text-to-speech. In this video, I want to give it a British narrator feel, so we'll go over to language. Select English, United Kingdom. For this example, we are going to use the voice named Brandon. Again, you just scroll down until you find your voice and click on it. Now, I'll copy and paste my text and then hit save. That brings us to our next tip, and this is where most people mess up. Make sure you click save if you want your changes to stick. It's annoying to make a bunch of changes. Forget to hit save, and then click on something else, and all your changes are gone, just like that. We'll start off this run with a 0.9 on pace and the default pitch. Let's go ahead and save that and play it.
On that fateful day in 1944, the waters off Normandy were churning with steel, smoke, and the resolve of thousands who knew history was about to change.
Not bad, but it's not quite the type of sound I'm looking for. Let's adjust the pitch.
On that fateful day in 1944, the waters off Normandy were churning with steel, smoke, and the resolve of thousands who knew history was about to change.
Okay, that works. Now, let's adjust the pace a bit.
On that fateful day in 1944, the waters off Normandy were churning with steel, smoke, and the resolve of thousands who knew history was about to change.
That's good. For the sake of example, let's test with a high pitch.
On that fateful day in 1944, the waters off Normandy were churning with steel.
All right, well, you see the difference. But we're going to move on to the millennial influencer. We'll go ahead and drop in the clip to get started. Once again, we'll go to record and create. Then down to create and text-to-speech. Okay, now we select a voice for our influencer. We're going to use Phoebe for this one, so let's test her voice.
Choose from a variety of voices to help you create a story worth sharing.
Good. Now, let's go down to advanced. And this is cool. Take a look, and you'll see Phoebe has emotion as an additional characteristic.
Choose from a variety of voices to help you create a story worth sharing. Choose from a variety of voices to help you create a story worth sharing.
You can hear the slight difference in the voice between sad and serious. Let's try adjusting the pitch.
Choose from a variety of voices to help you create a story worth sharing.
And once again, we'll paste in our script for this short. Let's take a listen.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this. I just picked up this new elf lipstick. And honestly, it's kind of insane.
All right, now time for those examples. But real quick, what was your favorite part of this tutorial? And did you enjoy it? Drop me a comment and tell me what kind of content you're going to use your AI voiceover for. All right, if you're still here, let's jump into those examples. The first gotcha is avoid run-on sentences.
Here's what I'm talking about when I say don't use long drawn-out complex sentences when using the text-to-speech as a tool for creating content.
In this example, the sentence is too long. There are no commas or natural breaks. Text-to-speech needs punctuation to pause and breathe. Without it, the voice rushes through the line, and it sounds robotic. The second gotcha gets most new creators because it's the easiest thing to do, and that's using default voice settings. That means avoid using the default pitch, default pace, language, or emotion. This will help distinguish your AI voice from others.
For example, this is the voice of Brandon, my historical narrator. But by changing the language to English United Kingdom, and the pace down to 0.9, it takes on a totally different sound.
On that fateful day in 1944, the waters off Normandy were churning with steel and smoke.
The third gotcha is choosing the wrong voice. Just because a voice sounds good doesn't mean it fits your content. Match the voice to the energy of the video, or even a great script will feel off. For example, this is what it would be like if I were to use my influencer voice Phoebe for my D-Day video.
On that fateful day in 1944, the waters off Normandy were churning with steel and smoke.
It doesn't sound bad, but it gives it a totally different vibe. So make sure you select the right voice for your content. All right, let's move on. The fourth gotcha is robotic pacing, and it quietly kills retention. Most creators use one flat speed. No pauses, no emphasis. Real people vary their pace. Slow down for key points, speed up through transitions, and your voice instantly sounds more natural and less AI. Here's an example.
This is a mistake that's killing your YouTube retention.
Notice there were no pauses, little inflection or emphasis on words. Compare that to this one.
This is a mistake that's killing your YouTube retention.
So be sure you use punctuation to help with pace and inflection. All right, that brings us to the final gotcha. The fourth was about using pauses to create emphasis. The fifth is about telling the AI what to emphasize. Most creators let every word sound the same. Add emphasis to key phrases, and your voice instantly becomes clearer, more engaging, and less robotic. Here, listen to these two.
This one change can double your watch time. This one change can double your watch time.
Did you notice how the phrase and quote stood out? Quotation marks help signal to the AI what you want emphasized. Just don't overuse them. Too many quotes can confuse the AI and cause it to ignore the emphasis altogether. To wrap this up, text-to-speech is an amazing tool, but how you use it makes a difference. Avoid these gotchas, and your AI voice will sound natural, intentional, and far more engaging. All right, that wraps up text-to-speech and brings us to our last topic in Clipchamp Essentials. And this topic is one that many forget, but it's so easy to implement, especially in Clipchamp. And that's auto captions. If you're not using Clipchamp's auto captions, you could be losing up to half your audience. Most people pay for caption tools like these. But Clipchamp gives you AI captions for free, and they're actually pretty good. Auto captions use AI to transcribe your audio and automatically turn it into subtitles. This improves watch time, accessibility, and retention, especially on shorts like this one. Now, take a look at the difference between using auto captions and not using them. You see how the version with auto captions grabs your attention and makes the content easier to follow, especially when watching without sound. So let's go ahead and show you how to get there. Inside Clipchamp, you're going to click CC Captions in the top right. Then select Try Now. Next, you'll choose your language, and then when you're ready, click Transcribe Media. This will take some time for the AI to interpret the audio. But once it's done, you will have a transcript that is used to create the captions. And stay tuned for a pro tip that is so simple, but yet a major time saver. But real quick, let's recap how to get there. First, we are going to click CC Captions. Next, we'll click Try Now. After that, you'll select your language. And then finally, you'll click Transcribe Media. All right, time to get your hands dirty. Go ahead and open up Clipchamp with a clip that has some audio to get prepped to go. Once you have the file loaded up, add it to the timeline if you haven't already. From here, we're going to have Clipchamp's AI do the real work. Simply click on the CC Captions in the top right corner, as we discussed earlier. Now go ahead and click Try Now. This will bring up the Transcribe with AI dialog box, where you'll select your language. Now, this next feature is pretty amazing. If your content has profanity, Clipchamp has a built-in filter that will censor your content to make it appropriate for all viewers. You just click the small checkbox for Filter Profanity and Offensive Language, and you're good to go. After that, go ahead and click Transcribe Media. Now we wait for Clipchamp to do its thing. Depending on the size of the media, this could take several minutes or more. I'm going to skip through this part to save time. But while you're waiting, please do me a favor. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. This helps me out tremendously, and this is part of a major Clipchamp series that if you're looking to up your content game, you really don't want to miss out on. All right, looks like we're ready to go. As you can see, the caption section on the right now has a transcript with timestamps for each word grouping. Oh, and don't trust captions blindly. Always scan for misheard words. Now let's check it out.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this. I just picked up this new elf lipstick, and honestly, it's kind of insane.
So first things first, you can clearly see that this is not a finished product. It gives a default font type, size, color, and style that isn't the most vibrant or appealing for that matter. But that's where we can get creative. Now, the current font isn't too bad, so we'll work with it for now. Always give an outline and shadow to your captions like so. This helps the text stand out on top of your video. To do that, go to the Advanced section just below the Color section. And here's a special note. Not all fonts have an Advanced section, therefore they don't allow for shadow and outline. So if you notice that the font you've selected doesn't give you that option, go ahead and switch fonts. For this style, we're going to increase the outline thickness to thick. This helps create a border around our text to help define the characters on the background. We'll also change the color to red to really pop against that background, as well as match the bright color of our lipstick. Let's also set the font to bold to also make the text stand out. You can also update the shadow color or depth. For this one, I'll leave the shadow color black. But to increase depth, I go into Settings and change the distance. For this one, I'll set it to far. Now, I left this next part in because you may run into this issue that can cause you to waste a bunch of time.
Okay, you guys.
As you can see, I'm playing the clip, and the captions aren't displaying on the video for the first line.
And honestly,
this happens from time to time, so I'll show you how to deal with it. Let's take a look again and watch the first line.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this.
Did you notice what's missing? If not, let's play it one more time.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this. I just picked up this new elf lipstick.
All right, now to fix this, simply go to the top and turn off auto captions. Now don't worry, Clipchamp will not need to reanalyze the text. Just toggle them back on by clicking Try Now and Confirm Settings. After that, you should be good to go.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this.
Perfect. Now that's better. Okay, now we can move on to probably the most important part of modifying your font, and that is font size. For shorts, you want the text to take up a good portion of your screen. There was one study that said somewhere between 20 and 30% was optimal for retention. You can see that 32 font probably takes up 10% of the screen, so we'll bump that up and see how that looks.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this. I just picked up this new elf lipstick, and honestly, it's kind of insane.
Better, but still a bit small. Since we were getting close, I'm going to adjust the font type to what I know has the right vibe. For this video, I'm going with Montserrat.
Okay, you guys.
All right, good. Now let's tweak the font size once more and see how that looks. That looks good. Now let's reposition the text.
Okay, you guys. I was not ready for this. I just picked up this new elf lipstick. And honestly, it's kind of insane.
Okay, what did you think? Was that font big enough? If not, go ahead and adjust it as you see fit for your video. Oh, and I wanted to mention one other thing you could run into. If you run into an issue where you change the position of the font and not all lines move, you can either exit the project or turn the captions off and on again. And that has fixed it for me in the past. Now it's time for that pro tip. When you generate your auto caption, be sure and download a copy of the SRT file. This file you can upload directly to YouTube when you're adding captions to the subtitles section in YouTube, which you should do regardless of adding the baked-in captions. In YouTube, just go to Subtitles and Upload File. I normally select with timing. Well, today we've touched all of the basics for the auto caption feature within Clipchamp. So let's recap. First, we went over how to enable the auto caption feature. From there, we talked about how to modify the font size and style. Then we went on to the advanced section and enabled and modified the outline and shadow features. And finally, we adjusted the position. And then for our pro tip, we learned how to download and use the SRT file in our YouTube upload. But if you want to learn a faster way to create videos in Clipchamp using Claude, you're going to want to check this video out right here. And that wraps up our complete Clipchamp tutorial. You now have everything you need to start creating polished videos with confidence. But as we move into the world of AI, it only makes sense to use it to help us build our channels. So in the next one, I'll show you how to pair Clipchamp with Claude to speed up your video production. Click the video on your screen now, and I'll see you there.